20 Cyberpunk and Resident Evil 7 inspired games you have to play. Welcome back, gamers. If you're a fan of the gritty neon-soaked streets of Cyberpunk world and the pulse-pounding tension-filled survival horror of Resident Evil 7, today's video is just for you. These two genres don't often overlap, but when they do, they create some of the most intense gaming experiences out there. Whether it's hacking into mines or surviving relentless alien stalkers, these 20 games will take you on a thrill ride which tech horror and human vulnerability collide. Let's dive into the top 10 and stick around for the 10 bonus picks you won't want to miss at the end of the video. At number 1 we have Observer System Redux. Step into a dystopian future where hacking into mines brings out the worst nightmares. You play as a neural detective digging through the minds of suspects in a grim cyberpunk city. With visuals enhanced for next-gen consoles, this psychological horror is perfect for anyone who loves Resident Evil's claustrophobic, atmospheric, but wants a more futuristic twin. Number 2 we have The Persistence. Death is only the beginning on this haunted space station. This roguelike survival horror set in deep space features a constantly shifting environment that changes every time you die. It's as unpredictable as it is terrifying, combining the resource management of Resident Evil 7 with a cyberpunk influenced sci-fi setting. This kind of reminds me of Dead Cells. Yeah, Dead Cells. Number 3, Deus Ex, Mankind Divided. In a world where augmentations reign, paranoia and conspiracy are your worst enemies. Although more action RPG than survival horror, Deus Ex brings cyberpunk tension with its story of human augmentations and social collapse. It's a grim world full of dark secrets that will keep you on edge. Number 4 we have System Shock 2. Can you survive an AI gone rogue in a decaying space station? One of the original survival horror classics, System Shock 2 combines cyberpunk with sci-fi terror. Battling against the malevolent AI, your journey through this dilapidated ship will test your nerves, much like the horror of Resident Evil 7. In at number 5 we have Prey 2017. In the shadowy halls of Talos 1, nothing is as it seems. Prey is a tense, immersive sim where survival depends on outsmarting aliens aboard a space station. Its mind-bending story, open-ended gameplay and atmosphere make it a must-play for fans of Resident Evil 7's survival horror and mystery. Number 6 we have Soma. What does it mean to be human in a world where machines dominate? Soma blends psychological horror with sci-fi, forcing you to question reality and your own identity. Its atmosphere is heavy with dread, similar to Resident Evil 7, but its philosophical undertones set it apart as one of the most thought-provoking horror games. Number 7 we have Alien Isolation. Stalked by a relentless alien, will you survive long enough to escape? Few games deliver as much tension as Alien Isolation, though not Cyberpunk. Its futuristic setting and focus on survival horror in a hostile environment make it a perfect match for Resident Evil 7 fans. Number 8, The Surge 2. Dark Souls combat meets cybernetics dystopia in this brutal fight for survival. The Surge 2 delivers punishing combat in a cyberpunk future where body modifications are the norm. With resource management, tough enemies and a bleak setting, this game delivers the same edge of your seat tension as Resident Evil 7. Number 9, Dead Space. In the depths of space, every shadow should be your last. A survival horror classic that features the isolation and resource management Resident Evil is known for. Dead Space throws you into a terrifying space station filled with necromorphs, the oppressive atmosphere and grotesque enemies making a perfect fit for this list. Number 10, Cyberpunk 2077, Phantom Liberty Expansion. Night City gets darker, deadlier and more treacherous in this expansion. Cyberpunk 2077 is already an immersive cyberpunk world, but the Phantom Liberty expansion introduces a darker, more espionage-driven storyline. While not a horror game, it delivers a gritty, tense experience that echoes the paranoia of Resident Evil 7's survival elements. And now for our bonus picks. Number 11, Signalis. A retro-styled survival horror game with a haunting dystopian atmosphere. Signalis draws heavy inspiration from the classics of the survival horror genre, combining a pixelated retro aesthetic with cyberpunk undertones. Set in a future where you play as a replica unit searching for a lost partner, the game masterfully combines eerie environments, scarce resources and a tense, claustrophobic setting that will keep you constantly on edge. If you're a fan of old school Resident Evil and the cyberpunk genre, this one is an absolute must play. Number 12, Ruiner. A fast-paced cyberpunk action game that drips with neon brutality. Set in the futuristic metropolis of Rendok, Ruiner puts you in the shoes of a wired psychopath fighting against a corrupt system. The top-down shooter gameplay offers brutal, fast-paced action, but the atmosphere and world building are pure cyberpunk. With its dark themes, intense combat and a visually striking neon-drenched world, Ruiner delivers a relentless experience for players who love both action and dystopian futures. Number 13, Black Future 88. A cyberpunk roguelike where survival is short and the future is even bleaker. Black Future 88 is a stylish roguelike set in a world where time is your enemy. Players must climb a procedurally generated tower before their heart explodes, while facing off against robotic enemies, deadly traps and formidable bosses. The game's pixel art, synthwave soundtrack and bleak atmosphere provide a cyberpunk setting reminiscent of Blade Runner, fused with high stakes, fast-paced action. Like Resident Evil 7, this game emphasises resource management and the player's skill with futuristic twist. 14. Resident Evil Village. A new chapter in the Resident Evil series, mixing classic horror with modern visuals. The direct sequel to Resident Evil 7, Resident Evil Village moves from the swamps to a gothic European village filled with werewolves, vampires and other terrifying creatures. While it leans more on action than its predecessor, it maintains the tension and survival horror elements that made Resident Evil 7 such a hit. The first-person perspective, scarce resources and haunting atmosphere all return, making it a must-play for those who loved the previous instalment. Number 15, Ghostrunner. A cyberpunk parkour slasher with razor-sharp precision and pulse-pounding action. Ghostrunner is a fast-paced action game set in a dystopian cyberpunk city. You play as a cyber-enhanced ninja with the ability to wall run, slow time and perform lightning-fast skills. While the game leans heavily on precision and combat rather than horror, the bleak atmosphere and themes of technological overreach evoke a strong cyberpunk vibe. The game's constant sense of urgency and intense difficulty make it perfect for adrenaline junkies looking for a fast-paced sci-fi challenge. At number 1 we have Observer System Redux. Step into a dystopian future where hacking into minds brings out the worst nightmares. You play as a neural detective, digging through the minds of suspects in a grim cyberpunk city. With visuals enhanced for next-gen consoles, this psychological horror is perfect for anyone who loved Resident Evil's claustrophobic, atmospheric, but wants a more futuristic twin. Number 17, Hollow Knight. A dark atmospheric Metroidvania with unsettling creatures and a hauntingly beautiful world. While Hollow Knight is more of an atmospheric 2D platformer than a survival horror game, its dark foreboding world is filled with mysterious creatures and eerie environments. Set in the decaying underground kingdom of Hollow Nest, the game's tone is somber, and its hand-drawn art style features create an unsettling yet beautiful backdrop. The tension in combat and exploration, paired with its bleak setting, gives it a haunting, almost gothic feel that Resident Evil fans will appreciate. And at 18 we have Metro Exodus. Post-apocalyptic survival in a grim world filled with danger, both human and mutated. Metro Exodus takes players on a journey through a post-apocalyptic Russia, mixing survival horror elements with a strong sci-fi narrative. The game's cyberpunk influence comes from its dystopian setting, high-tech weaponry, and advanced systems that contrast with the bleak, intricate, eradicated world. As with Resident Evil 7, resource management, stealth and horror play a key role. The open world design gives you the freedom to explore, but danger lurks around every corner, making survival a constant battle. Number 19, Hellpoint. A cosmic horror RPG set on a derelict space station filled with nightmarish entities. Hellpoint is a dark sci-fi action RPG that mixes the brutal combat of Dark Souls with a horrifying space station setting. You play as a creation of the author tasked with uncovering the dark secrets of the station. The combination of occult themes, technological horror and cosmic dread gives Hellpoint a unique flavour, blending elements of both cyberpunk and survival horror. The unsettling atmosphere and unforgiving combat make it perfect for fans of Resident Evil 7 who crave something different yet equally nerve-wracking. And finally we have 20, Lone Echo 2. VR horror in the silent expanse of space, where isolation becomes your worst enemy. Lone Echo 2 is a VR game that takes place on a mining station orbiting Saturn. While more of an adventure than outright horror, the isolation and eerie desolation environments create a palpable tension. With its strong emphasis on exploration, resource management and immersive storytelling, Lone Echo 2 delivers a haunting experience in space that recalls the atmosphere of Alien Isolation and Resident Evil 7. The VR experience only enhances the feeling of vulnerability and danger. And that wraps up our list of 20 Cyberpunk and Resident Evil 7 inspired games you have to play. Whether you're into the slow burn tension of psychological horror, the fast-paced action of dystopian shooters, or the philosophical questions raised by cyberpunk worlds, there's something here for everyone. Let me know in the comments which game you're most excited to dive into. Don't forget to like, subscribe and hit that notification bell for more gaming content. Until next time, stay safe out there, gamers.